Teddy, how lovely to relive these memories and make this documentary. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet. I've heard that you watched it on the way up yesterday or something. I'm looking forward to it. We've all got our own stories, especially from the last 11 days of that season. I know my story, but we don't often sit down and relive each other's stories. So that'd be interesting to find out what was going on in other people's minds and houses and what their temperament was like. Mine was a very roller coastery last 11 days for that season, but it's obviously one that I wouldn't change.
And it focuses your story on your time and your relationships with players, how it didn't always have to be good, but the message was clear: you win together and that's it, and you lose together.
Well, of course, that's the beauty of any top team, that you're not all friends. Personalities clash quite a lot throughout a season and throughout a career, but you're all there to do one job. You do your best for that particular team that you're playing for, that particular manager, and for your own self-esteem and your career, what you loved doing as a kid growing up and wanting to do. So you dig deep at times and you hang in there.
Speaking of digging deep, Manchester United, the current squad, will have to do that going into this weekend, the FA Cup final. What would your message be to the youngsters?
Without a doubt, take a leaf out of the 99 team, the squad. There were times that we looked like that we was down and out. You've got to dig deep at times. It's not all roses. Whichever game you're playing in, you need to scrap for each other. I think leaders make sure that other people fall into line. It doesn't look like a lot of leaders at the moment for Manchester United. Everybody seems to be doing their own jobs and thinking that's enough. It's not. It's about helping your mate next year when things are tough, and there's no tougher time than when you're losing 4-0 away to Crystal Palace and then you've got to play Arsenal at the weekend. So they need to have a good word with each other over the next couple of days and make sure they respond.
Injury caused a bit of a problem for your time at Manchester United, but how does it feel looking back on the memories, winning the treble and being part of that squad?
No, but like I said, of course for me it was tough to have those injuries and only be able to play 1 year. But on the other hand, if you should pick 1 year to play at Manchester United, it was this year, definitely.
What was it like doing this documentary, reliving those memories?
No, but it was nice, and it opened during my interviews there. It opened a lot of doors that were closed, really, that I hadn't really thought so much about. You don't go around thinking about this treble season that much, never really. But now I got the chance a little bit to relive it and think about it, and that was a nice feeling, and gave me a good feeling inside.
I bet it did. Listen, it's hard not to watch the documentary and draw drastic parallels between Manchester United then and Manchester United now. Is that frustrating for you even?
Yeah, but it's been a frustrating season for everybody who likes Manchester United. I must admit I've been frustrated at times this year, and it's tough. But that's also football. It goes up and then it goes down. And I think what I've been saying a little bit, you need the whole club as a whole to be pulling each other at the same direction. And I think now maybe we are getting there again, that we're trying to get everybody working together at the club and go in the right direction again.
The main thing I took away from this documentary was that lovely relationship that you two have together, and almost the jeopardy for you with Dwight coming to the club, but you took him under your wing and you showed him the way. That's just brilliant. What a good sportsmanship.
Yeah, sportsmanship, or whatever people call it nowadays, it is what it is. I was under the impression that if I could help Dwight in any way, shape or form just to come to Man United and settle in as quick as possible, I'll do just that. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to try and make it easier for him. I mean, someone coming to the football club especially a club like Manchester United, is a big thing, for such big money as well. So for me, I was comfortable doing it. I did it out of the goodness of my heart, and I'm just happy the way things worked out for Dwight, and then we go on to do what we did that season and ended up doing what we did that season as well. I think for me personally, that makes me feel even better that I opened my heart to someone just to try and help him, and You know, all these years later, people are still talking about it.
Getting salty. He was really like my big brother, in all fairness. Although we separate by a few months, but
Exactly.
he acts like my big brother. He took me under his wing, and I'm very grateful. He made life extremely easy for me to blend it in. Not like the other players, they all tried, they all did their bits, but he went out especially to make it all happen.
And Dwight, do you think that's what led to maybe one of the greatest Premier League strike partnerships we have ever seen?
Well, it certainly enhanced it. Our friendship had grown outside of the game. You don't forget 3 months. People forget 3 months we hadn't played together at all. There's lots of rumours him leaving the football club. So it's just a mark of what he is. He intended to stay and fight for his position. He could have taken the easy option and leave the football club. Obviously, we're delighted he didn't, and he had the opportunity, but he still had to buy his time. The 3-month spell would have been a very frustrating time for him, but he never doubted his ability to really get back into the team. And when that moment happened, well, the rest is pretty much history, right?
You guys need a podcast together. I mean, the bromance, the friendship, the love, the respect for each other, it's lovely.
It's honest, that's all we are, we're honest, you know, and I like honest people. That's where I've been brought up. As Yorke knows, I speak my mind when I have to, but as I get older, I'm getting more mellow now, so yeah.
Speaking of speaking your mind, the manager, Sir Alex, what was your first impressions of him?
When I first met him, yeah, an individual that you know where you stand. Obviously, he'll always get the best out of you. Whatever way you do that, he'll get the best out of you. But a manager that he wanted to play for, you know, his will and his drive and his passion to win, to make Manchester United the greatest football club, you know, was unbelievable. So, obviously, when I spoke to him, I had no hesitation to sign for Manchester United.
It's amazing when you watch the documentary. I've seen it. It's incredible. One of my favourite sporting documentaries.
How do you guys see it?
Because, you know, like you guys aren't special enough. Well, I mean, it's excellent. But what's brilliant is the stark contrast between Manchester United then and Manchester United now. I think the United dressing room needs to see this, because the togetherness that you guys had, that promising each other at Christmas, we won't lose again. How important was that moment?
Well, that's what team is about, right? And you can't afford to have separation in a team format. Everybody has to be on the same page. And listen, that's what we are. We recognize that there was big egos and stuff in the dressing room, but ultimately it's about, you know, playing the game, what we represent, the club like Manchester United, and ultimately about winning as well. So, you know, that was my first year, so I was experiencing something relatively new. The reason I left Aston Villa was to make sure that we compete for these big trophies. These boys have managed to win it. So I was just embracing going along, but you had to learn very quickly if you have to be successful.
And I had to dig deep for this one because, as I said before, it's as a player you try to forget all the games you play. At least I tried, just to focus on the next game. So this was a big trip down the memory lane. Yeah.
And it must be difficult now, watching current Manchester United, when you relive those memories then. Is that frustrating?
You know, as I said before, it's sometimes teams and players and you know, you go into those periods, you just have to dig really deep to get out of. And you know, the player knows that, and they start on training pitch every day. So you go out there and do your best. I believe they can like dig. And now it's a big game for them coming up, you know, for the Wembley game. So that could be a really good, what can I say, stamp on the season.
Yeah, because that's something we hear a lot about in the documentary, is losing is good to push you forward.
Yeah.
Surely after the week
Yeah.
we've had,
Yeah.
something's got to go up.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, you know, the players know that, and they will. I'm sure they will like go on the training pitch and really dig deep for it. So. And hopefully they can, well, they have something really good to look forward to play on Wembley. It's, you know, one of the big thing you can do.
You mastered that midfield in the Champions League final when there was key players out. And now it's so easy to look at injuries and squads.
Yeah.
How important is it to dig deep, and what would your message be?
No, I mean, we had an amazing squad, amazing bunch of talented players, but the characters in that squad was unbelievable. You know, you look to your left and your right, and you knew when the going was going to get tough that they'd dig in with you, and they'd have your backs. So we're very fortunate to have such an amazing squad, and I think it reflects all the way through that season, because there were times when probably the two main strikers, Coley and Yorke, weren't playing, and Teddy and Ollie would play, and it wouldn't change. Or say if one of the midfielders was out and me or Ronnie would take over midfield, it wouldn't change. So I think that's the only reasonable way you can describe that, is that we not all best mates, but when we got to a point of getting in changing rooms or on a pitch, we was all had each other. And you see that now with City when they won the treble. You can see how they'd work for each other, how they dedicated to each other, and we was the same.
It's amazing because in the documentary, Sir Alex Ferguson says Nicky Butt was the spirit of Manchester United. And it's in this documentary.
Nice man. Well done, boss.
Honestly.
Should have paid me more, shouldn't they?
You're in the good books. But I wondered about that spirit now. He focuses on the past of Manchester United, the history, the legend of the club. Do you think the current players need to focus on that more?
I think it's difficult for them. So it's easy for me to sit here and have a go at the players because they're not playing well enough or the bad results. But they need people in there that tell them that. Tell them about the history of the club, tell them how to behave, tell them what to be expected. And I'm not sure who'll be doing that at that football club now. So when we come in to football club, we was young players, but we looked up to Brian Robson, Steve Bruce, Brian McClare, Gary Pallister, Peter Schmeichel. They had morals and they had ways of how to behave and how to be treated and treat the staff and the people around the club, and we learned from that and come through, and then we took over that. So when the players come in like Ole Gunnar or Ronnie or whoever it might be, it was our job to tell them how to behave, and then so on. And it was Wes Brown, John O'Shea, Darren Fletcher's turn. I don't see who's leading that and who's helping them believe and have that belief. So it's easy to sit here and go, they're not this, they're not that, but they need to have some fundamental people in there that leads the ship, steers the ship, if you like.
I would send you lot back in there, have a chat with them.
I think our time, we've done it, we've done that, and listen, the good thing is they've got hopefully a new leadership group at the club now, led by Sir Jim, so hopefully, and Sir Dave Brailsford, so hopefully they'll have that ready to go. Then they know what's up with the football club. They don't need us to tell them. They're fundamentally a few important things wrong for infrastructure, recruitment, and they're going to get that right, and hopefully they'll get the club back where it needs to be.